Jim, the first question comes from Lavella Montgomery, and the question is, do you think we should dissolve the SRC?
Well, there's a double-edged sword there. First of all, I can't do it. We can't do it. It can only be done in Harrisburg, or they can only dissolve themselves. If they dissolve themselves or Harrisburg does it, they have an opportunity to wipe their hands and say, you know what, you have it back. Now take care of it. There's no responsibility on their part. It's even less of a responsibility because they're not involved. I would like to see somewhat of a hybrid. I'd like to see more parents on the school board or in school governance. I think parents are important. If you have skin in the game, your kids are in the system, then you're going to care about what's going on. I never went to public school. I went to Catholic school based on religious issues with my family, and went to Catholic high school and Catholic college. But I'm not qualified to be on the SRC because my kids don't go to public school. And they didn't go because of I went to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. We all went there. That's what we did. But that was my family. But I think people who are on the board should have children in the school. And I think that's a very important thing. And
the next question comes from LaShawna Coleman. And the question is, what will you do to bring the school district and the PFT back to the negotiating table to get a fair contract?
It's called being the mayor. The office of mayor in the city of Philadelphia is a very powerful position, and I don't take that responsibility lightly. But I do think there are times when the bully pulpit, you can use your power and influence to get people to sit down and talk. That's the way I to deal with my municipal workers. You can't have a good company, a good organization, if your employees don't like you. If they won't want to do the extra things they need to do to help you. They won't go the extra mile. They can't innovate. They won't want to innovate because they're not respected. And respect does not mean giving away the store. Respect means mutual consultation across the table on work rules, on salary, on benefits, on pensions, on everything. Because if you want something in return from your workers and they want something from you, it's called a negotiation. And that's how labor management works. And it doesn't work when you dictate it or you try to litigate it.
Thank you. The next question comes from Marla from Thorogood Marshall. And the question is, how will you address the needs of children outside of school differently than the current social service programs being offered?
Well, I'm going to do something symbolic, but I think it's going to have an effect. There's no reason in the world why any mayor or any city should have luxury suites at the sports complexes at Citizens Bank Park and at Lincoln Financial Field and at Wells Fargo. We should be leasing those boxes out to companies who want to use those facilities, who don't have a suite at those facilities, and make it a fundraiser for schools. We can raise perhaps $3 million. There's a potential of about $3 million or $4 million based on how good or bad the teams are doing. But if we go deep into the World Series, for example, those boxes are extremely worthwhile. And if we go to an NFC championship game, again, God help us, we should be able to lease those boxes out. Beyonce, Justin Timberlake, all those concerts at Wells Fargo should be filled by, and those boxes should be people who are paying, and that money can go to sports and to cultural activities and after-school stuff. Now, it's not a lot, but in this district, $3 or $4 million is a lot of money, and you can do a lot with it. And that's a commitment. That's a commitment that I'm making because I've tried to get those boxes privately leased since the stadiums were built, and that's going to happen.
The next question is from Isabel Peeling from Amy at James Martin. And the question is, we need a school reform model that honors and takes advantage of educators' expertise. Do you agree, and how would you work to make that happen?
Well, again, I mean, the SRC is there, and the legislature put it there. And unless it gets rid of itself or it goes away by the legislature, we're going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to deal with that structure. Certainly, I would try to get the best relationship possible with the SRC, to try to deal with them on a one-to-one basis also. But I think that the governance situation is difficult. And I don't think that I can exactly resolve the governance of it because I don't have the power of the legislature. But I do think that we can approach each other again with mutual respect and cooperation. Again, what you do is important, and it needs to be honored. It needs to be respected because you don't make a lot of money. I mean, compared to what private sector people make to doing these kinds of jobs, this is kind of a missionary thing for you too. It's not only just your job; it's what you do because that's what you are. So we can all work together to make sure that happens.
Please join me in thanking Councilman Jim Kenney. Thank you, Jim, for coming to be with us tonight.